Persampieri, and I'm running for town clerk. I was born and raised in Abington to my father Frank, who was a pipe fitter at the Quincy shipyards, and my mother Mary, who was a secretary at South Shore Hospital. A few years after I was born, my father became a police officer in this town. Growing up, I attended the Abington Public Schools from kindergarten to graduating from Abington High School in 2001. My first job was in my neighborhood delivering newspapers, specifically the Enterprise, when I was 10 years old, until I got my first hourly job right down the street at Trukey's. Needless to say, my roots are deep within this community. I soon left to work at UPS in Brockton, and within a year I was promoted to a supervisor when I was 18. I attended Massasoit Community College in the day, and I worked at UPS at night. I later moved out to Quincy and then Watertown when I worked in an office in Waltham. I moved back to Abington at the end of 2009. I saw my old elementary school shut down, and the firefighter station at Brockton Ave was closed. While we were arguing amongst ourselves on the tax override and the shutting down of the center school, I was shocked to see that the town clerk, Leanne Adams, accepted a $3,000 pay raise. To be clear, I have nothing against any worker making as much money as they can at their jobs. They put in the 40, 50, or 60 hours a week. If they're two jobs, they deserve every penny they can get. But when it comes to elected representatives, whether it's in government or a union, it's different. If you're an elected representative, then you should be making what the people you represent make. Nothing more, nothing less. And taking a $3,000 pay raise in the middle of a crisis seems like a slap to the face of the people of this town. If you want to get rich, then public service should not be the way to do it. You do it to serve the community in your neighborhood. How are you going to have anything in common with the people you're representing when you almost make double what they make? If I am elected, I will take the average wage of an Abington worker and donate the rest of my salary, $22,000, to local charities and community groups that work on behalf of ordinary people. And I will post all of my monthly donations and contributions on my Facebook, on my campaign page, which you can find on Facebook, which is Whisper Clerk. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was so smooth, it sounded like they memorized it. Leanne, if you're ready, you can go.
Good evening. My name is Leanne Adams, and I am running for the one-year unexpired term of town clerk. I have two daughters, Julia and Kelly. I'm sorry, I can't hear her. This happens to me all the time.
The microphones are...
Yeah, they're good. My name is Leanne Adams, and I am running for the one-year unexpired term of town clerk. I have two daughters, Julia and Megan Kelly. And Julia is a freshman at Keene State College in New Hampshire, and Megan is a sophomore at Abington High School. I've lived in Abington for 19 years. I've worked in the clerk's office for just about 9 years. I have the experience and knowledge to continue serving the townspeople with the same efficiency and professionalism as the town clerks before me. I am pleased to say that I have trained with Linda for the past 8.5 years, and she was trained by Mrs. McKenna. These are two much respected women in our town. My daily duties may include many different things. Today, it was birth certificates, death certificates. I worked with a couple this morning to complete their marriage intensives. I answer questions about flood insurance. I had a phone call this morning about a neighbor who was very irritated because there was debris in his yard that another neighbor wouldn't tend to, and I had to direct his call. I have questions about the town dump that we don't have and how to redirect those calls. And I also keep current the board and committee postings that we have out in the front hallway. I swore in a new registrar this morning. I assisted several voters with their absentee ballot applications. And I mailed out several absentee ballots. So there's many different duties in the clerk's office. There's more, but I'm going to stop. I most recently coordinated a 30-plus training in an elections workshop for 30-plus workers, and I ran the town election. And right now I'm currently organizing and planning the upcoming special and annual town meetings, as well as the senatorial primary, our town election, and the senatorial election. With many years' experience in the town clerk's office, I'm able to assist customers and my fellow co-workers quickly answering questions regarding the town's government by accessing E-Code, Abington's general bylaws, the town charter, and the state VRIS program. currently a member of the New England Municipal Town Clerks Group and the Tri-County Town Clerks Group. I have taken 14 classes towards my municipal certification. By taking these classes, I am continuously educated in our increasingly complex municipal government. This fall, I worked with the Abington High School students with Mr. Lanner's class. He has a class in politics and government, and I invited the students over and they toured the office. They went over the election process with me, and they had the opportunity to test the ballots for the upcoming presidential election. I also organized and worked with the National Honor Society students to assist with the traffic flow over on election day with parking, and they were kind of like greeters for the voters. And I was also working with a senior student who was a peer leader, and she volunteered in our office, but her schedule got too busy with her college requirements, and so she's no longer there, but we miss her. And I would like to continue that with the students in the high school. It's important to me that the kids know that they're always welcomed in the office, and if they ever want to volunteer, it's very much appreciated. The town clerk's office, we're also a part of the Abington Senior Tax Rebate Program, and I've been very fortunate to have some wonderful women come in and volunteer. I have Sue, who's here tonight, who is, she is very helpful in calling residents and reminding them that their dogs need to be updated with their Abington dog tags. And I also have an assistant that comes in and helps with the town census, because that's also very busy right now. And so in closing, I would please ask for your vote on April 27th, and I feel very strongly with over 8 years' experience in the office that I am the right candidate for the position. Thank you.
We do have some questions, and the questions will be asked to both, the same question. I would remind people in the audience, the right question, which we're glad that you did. There's one that's really directed to one person alone, and in the context that it's given to me, it's not proper for this purpose. We'll see if we can work it into how we do things, but the question should be for both to answer, not just one. Okay. And we'll start with one person, and the next time the other person will be the first one to answer, and back and forth, so you're not stuck with being the first all the time. So, why don't we just first get to know you a little bit? This question has to do with if you served on a board or a town committee, and if you've been employed here or anyone else in a municipal capacity. So, Leanne, you want to take the first one? Start.
I have not served on any of the boards. I'm currently on the board of registrars, but that was it. And no other committees. No, go ahead.
I'm also not in on any committees either. I'm new to politics in this town, but I have worked in local community organizations, one of which was fighting against the MBTA cuts that were going on. The commuter rail service that is now cut in the weekends. I was involved with getting involved in that campaign and doing outreach in Quincy, mostly because that was where the red line was. But things about, that was more grassroots organization. But as far as an elected committee, no, I have no experience.
Okay, then you be the first one on the second question. Okay, all right. Maybe it's hard for you to answer where you're running for it, but the question I'd like to know, deep in your heart, you can remove yourself from this particular race that you're in, but do you believe that this position should be elected or appointed? When you say appointed, I assume you mean by the board of selectmen.
I absolutely support that all positions within the town should be elected positions. This is a democratic society. And if you were, that's the idea of the basis of what we do, is that people are going to be held accountable to the people. If people are not happy with the way things are being run, then what is your recourse to recall the people who are not doing a good job or not fit to do the job anymore? So the right to be elected and the right to be recalled, I think, are two very important things to be had in this government.
It is a very tough one. I would have to say elected, because it should be up to the townspeople who's running the office.
I'm sorry. question asked is a factor on that, which we'll have to figure. If you are elected, what would your priorities be during the first year? And the right of the question sort of assumed it was a 3-year term. The fact is, it's only a 1-year term. So they still is worth an answer to the question, what would you do in your first office, first year in office elected to it? And we would start with Leanne.
In my first year, I would be basically doing all the same duties that I'm doing now. Right out of the gate, there's, like I said earlier, there's several elections that are coming up, the town election, the senatorial primary and the senatorial election, and the town meeting, the special town meeting. In the fall, there will be the fall town meeting. Over the summer, it's a really good opportunity to clean up a lot of the files and to reorganize. And again, in the fall, I would like to work with some more kids from Abington High School.
The question did have kind of a follow-up part to it too, okay? Thought I'd break it in half. They want to know, do you have in mind some changes that you would want to make?
Do you want me to answer that one?
Yeah.
Not a lot of changes, because I feel that the way the office has been run for the past several years is very smooth. We've had no issues, no problems, and if it's not broke.
Okay. Chris, you can answer the 2 questions a little bit separately too, if you choose to, okay? Remember what the question is, okay?
Yep.
Okay.
You know, the way I feel it is that, I'll try to repeat it one more time. I'm thinking of the second part
Is that
first.
the question?
Yeah.
Oh, sure, okay. First part has to do what would be your priorities during that first year. The writer thought you had 3 years to
Okay.
work on it.
All right. Well, obviously, the first part of the job is, if I do get elected with your support on the 27th, I have 1 week until I do assume office. But what I will be doing is I will be learning all the duties and necessary things that have to happen in order to become, a certified town clerk. The association that was brought up, the Massachusetts Association for Public Office Holders, that they meet up. They just had a meeting in Worcester. I tried to attend that meeting so I could come into office already knowing something about how the process works and everything, and the Town Clerks Association. They had a lot of good things on how to integrate new people, new systems, how to get things out there, and I wanted to attend that. But I was told since I'm not elected and I'm only a candidate, I cannot attend this. So I wanted to walk in on day 1 knowing exactly, at least knowing the basics of what needs to get done. As far as the second part of what do I plan on doing for the rest of that year and what needs to get changed is that, with taking the average wage of an Abington worker, I plan on, meeting with people in local charities. There are many good organizations in this town that need funding. That's what I want to work towards, and I want to hear from you. Now, if this isn't my ideas, it's what you want. This is your money. I want to hear what you'd like to think this money should go towards. So, hopefully, we can have that conversation if I get used to on the 27th.
You said, you answered the second part, what I want to say. Thank you very much. Let's start with you this time, all right? This questioner wants to know, do you think there's any customer relations problems in the clerk's office that does need to be remedied?
I've only been to the clerk's office twice. I had a very pleasant experience. When I did go, I've heard nothing negative about the office whatsoever. The only other time I've been there, I think I was getting my birth certificate when I was trying to get a passport when I was younger, but that's about the only experience I've had with it. But I've heard nothing negative about the office.
Yeah.
Please can you repeat that?
Sure. The questioner is asking, do you think there are any existing customer relations problems in the clerk's office that need to be remedied?
No, I don't. No. I do often find that if a customer can't make it to the office by 4:30 when we close, if they need a birth certificate or, something timely, I stay. Now I just told everybody, but yes. Because I do understand that, 3:30 to 4:30 can be difficult.
Okay. All set on that question? Anything you want to add?
Yeah, actually, there's one thing. If it was possible to change one thing in the office, I think the hours are no one gets out of work at 4:30, generally speaking, Monday through Friday, and most people have, in the town clerk's on the weekend. So if you wanna get a birth certificate, you have to take time off of work to get in there. And on Fridays, the office shuts down at noon. That's 32 hours a week the office is open. So I think expanding the hours to 40 hours, like everyone else has to work 40 hours, I think that should change. So I think a 40-hour work week with an office that's open later during the week, I think for people to leave work and come and get a birth certificate or whatever they need, or the dog license that we gotta get. I think that would be very helpful for the office.
Help me, who went first last time? Who went first last time?
I did.
Leanne, you also? This question wants to know, what do you think is the single most, I guess you could mention more than one, it's the single most important issue that you'll face during the next year regarding this office?
I don't know if it's an issue, but the upcoming elections are very important.
Sorry?
The upcoming elections,
No.
I wouldn't call them an issue, but I feel that they are the most important things that happen in the office.
Okay, understand the question?
Yes, I mean, this is a non-political position. This is the town record keeper, historian, person you go to get necessary documents. So as far as issues are coming up, that would probably be water commissioner, selectmen who have issues to deal with like that. But as far as the town clerk, I'd say that's, I don't think there's any issues.
Okay. I think that was really pretty much asked. I'm getting about to the end of this, but I think this does raise something in my mind, if the audience will allow me a little bit of latitude, because these have not been my questions, but, and I'm saying partly because we have at least one selectman in the room. There's not a lot of staff people in the office. Not a lot of, the staff is rather small. And being an attorney, as my associate, Mr. Leanne, and probably a lot of citizens are pretty familiar with how many duties they do have. I'm saying this will benefit both of us. Because one is going to serve there. And there's a lot of duties that they have time requirements, where they have to do those by a certain date and by a certain time, and there isn't any, I didn't get to it. I was too busy, I simply have to get them. A couple of elections that are coming up. I think there's 2 elections within 3 or 4 days. And they have a lot of requirements that go with that. People being qualified to vote, and what they gotta do afterwards and so on. So, I guess I'm really just trying to make it easy for whomever is the winner. But I know it's very thinly staffed at the office. And I have volunteered my time. I've never ever been paid by any government for anything. I have volunteered my time, and it's just absolutely, I'm on the board of registrar of voters, just so you know, an unpaid position. And the town clerks, recent ones I've had a need for help and had confidence in me, because there needs to be a great deal of confidentiality with records and so forth. So I'm only speaking on behalf of this office, which will affect whoever the winner is, not in favor of one or the other. But the staff requirements need to be looked at by someone, and they need to be adequately staffed so that they can do the job. And that would affect either one of us, no matter which one is considered. So I hope no one took that, neither one of us take that as being detrimental to you, except when what was intended. I really just want to help you out. So I'll give you both. I think we did start first, and then if you want to address that, and if you want to address that, feel free to do so.
Yeah, as far as staffing issues, I think if the work is over, too much for, the office as it is, then I think there's a proper channels to go about going ahead and trying to hire more staff, more people to get on to help out with any work, because this is very important things. People need certificates, birth certificates. If they're gonna sign the kids up for Little League, you're gonna need a birth certificate, and your time is very precious. But also, I do want to make sure that the people who are working do know what they're doing and are qualified to do it. So, so if that any issues comes up, I would hopefully be able to talk directly to the Board of Selectmen or whoever so we can, because I know there's I can't just hire people randomly, so there has to be a process to it, so.
Thank you.
It's challenging working by yourself, but I don't mind doing it, and if you need to stay, you stay a little extra to be sure that everything is taken care of. I would hope to be able to hire somebody if the budget allows, and I believe that it will. By July, I should be able to hire somebody, or one of us will be able to hire somebody. And as far as it, whatever the hours are, that would be up to the selectmen's budget.
I think you did the opening statement first, right?
Yes.
So we'll let you go second in this case.
Okay.
Leanne would like to give you a closing statement?
And while we were sitting here talking about different points, I just wanted to be sure that everybody knew that the hours of the town clerk's office are not set by us, they're set by the Board of Selectmen and the town manager's office. And I do understand, like I said, that if, people are working, they need a little, help if I would stay, or, and so that everybody knows, birth certificates, if you're unable to get them in our office, you can get them in the town, the hospital, so you do have another option. And as far as dog registrations, anything like that, a lot of these can be done by mail. And when I do receive them in the office, they go right out the same day, birth, death, marriage, any of those requests. So this is a closing statement, and I would just like to say that, again, I feel very confident that I will be able to continue to provide the same level of service to all of you. And I have over 8 years' experience, and I enjoy my job very much, and I think that that helps a lot. I feel that it's a very pleasant window to come to. We always try to, Mrs. Adams and I used to always try to solve any problems, issues, and be sure that everybody is happy. Not a problem.
Roll it out.
So I would please ask for your vote on April 27th. Thank you. Thank you.
I apologize.
The goal of politics isn't winning or power, it's about improving people's lives. That's why I wanted to get involved with local government, because I know the most effective way to enact immediate change is by getting involved with our community. And I most importantly want to hear from you. If there are any local groups and charities you know of in this town, please come talk to me after outside. I'd love to talk to you for as long as you'd like about it. But here, locally, we can get so much done. What turned away a town dump when I was young in Abington, it was a local recall election. What got new windows for the Woodsdale School? A ballot question. On April 27th, you have a real choice. Does the town clerk position stay as it is, or do we start something new here? With this money freed up, it gives every single person in this community, young and old, to get involved and help improve this town. If students at the high school want new sports equipment, if parents need materials to help clean up the Beaver Brook playground, or as I read in the Abington Mariner recently, that the Abington Summer Concert Series needs funding, that's where the funds will go. This is your money, not mine. I want to work for you, and on April 27th, you can make that happen.